When he was trying to account to himself, it was not as powerful. But when he's accounting to the team, there's added power because there's added barrier. There's safety in numbers, right? There's safety in the counsel of many. Hey everyone, welcome back to Coaching Changes Lives. So glad you can join us this week. Now, if you're new to the channel, do remember to hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay tuned to all the latest updates and videos that we have for you. Now, this channel is really meant to empower you, to equip you with communication skills, to level up the way you coach people, the way you inspire, and the way you create breakthroughs for others as well. So, if you're wondering, what's a coach, what's a leader, what's a speaker, what's an influencer, and what's the difference between mentoring and all this, do check out our other videos in our channel as well to learn more about it. Well, today we're going to look at one component which is called accountability. Accountability. Now, many people have said, what on earth is accountability? Do I really need to account myself to anything? Because I can account myself. And how do I design the process of accountability? Is accountability that so important for my success, for my growth, for my progress? Or is it just something that people just made up and it's not really that so important? Well, we're going to discover that today. Now, one of the things that many people have asked me is, hey, Jedi, as you're coaching many people, what is one common thing that you've seen all throughout your experiences? Well, one thing is this: the people who were able to fulfill the actions that they said they're going to do compared to the people who design the actions but never really take the action step forward. The big difference is this. The big difference is this one word called accountability. Accountability. Now, many people say, okay, well, maybe what we need is actually just to motivate them more, to push them more, to get more extrinsic motivation, to get more intrinsic motivation. Well, all those have its place. But one thing that will really trap us in, because you see, sometimes there are days when we wake up, we don't feel like doing anything. There are days we wake up, we feel like being so lazy, we feel lethargic, we feel that, it's not another day, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want to go exercise, because, it's just the blah day. How many of you experienced that before, right? Leave that in the comment section below, right? All of us have experienced some form of, energy shifts or energy dips in our days, in the daily walks of our life. And how do we keep that energy up? Now, one way is for us to do priming, another way is for us to do meditation, for us to do mindfulness, for us to do centering. There are a lot of things we can do. But what if those days we just cannot do it anymore? Now, a lot of the tools and activities that we've all learned around the world are tools and activities that can be helped, especially for ourselves, to really keep ourselves motivated, to keep ourselves driving forward. But one thing that's going to be very important that helps us to trap us, something I call this the good trap. To trap us in a moment or in a place where we can be progressing. Even if we don't feel like doing anything, even if we don't feel like meditating, even if we don't feel like edifying ourselves this morning, what is one thing that we can trap ourselves in to make us move forward constantly? And that is the word accountability. Now, many people, when they hear the word accountability, they say, well, Jedi, I know about accountability. I've been accounting myself. I've been the greatest accountability partner ever. I'm accounting to myself all the time. Well, if you have been experiencing progress and you have been having a blast at accounting yourself, what you might be missing is that you could have actually experienced another 10% increase. You could have actually experienced another 1% increase had you account to others. Accounting to others. Now, what's the difference between accounting to myself and accounting to others? Well, the big difference is this, that when we account to ourselves, we are often the greatest enemy to ourselves, because we could push the extra bench press, right, the extra kg, we could push it, but you know what, if we had someone beside us, if there's someone sparring on with us, we know that there's added energy. There's something about the humankind. When two or more are gathered, something happens. When two or more are gathered, there's more energy, there's more life, there's more vitality, there's more vivaciousness, there's more challenge, right? So think about this. When I go to the gym with my friends, with my trainers, with my coaches, what happens is this: we're able to push each other more. But on days when I don't do it, what happens is that I realize that I never really push myself beyond what I thought was possible. Because I know that my friends or my partners are not there to support, right? To act as a support base for me. Because what if I am not able to push the final rep, right? So one of the things is, even in life as well, accountability is so important. Because many of us, as we go through life, how many of you have a career accountability partner? How many of you? Now, this is going to be brand new for us, but you see, think about this. Many people go through their careers, just going through the mill, and then after which, they never really invested in getting a accountability coach. To me, one of the things that I love to do is to get an accountability coach. Get someone That person might not be an expert in your field, but that person is an expert coach. The person is able to help you, to coach you through all the journeys. And that's one reason, one of my passions in helping coaches to become accountability coaches to many different people all around the world. My mission is to raise and train 1 million coaches around the world to help make an impact in organizations, businesses, and lives. Why is this so important? Because one thing is true, that we can try to account to ourselves all we can, but you know what? That will not work all the time. That will not work all the time. Now, that's for people who are performing. What happens about people who are not performing? Well, if they try to account to themselves, they are not getting anywhere closer to the results. In fact, they're on a decline, because every time they try, they defeat themselves. Every time they try, they beat themselves up again, because they are realizing they're not able to move forward. So accountability really helps to facilitate the learning and growth for the individual, the learning and growth for the teams, the learning and growth for the organization. We always look at the individual, the team, the organization, the society at large. So it always begins first with the individual. Whether the individual begins the accountability process well, because that will create the snowball effect to the team, to the society, to the organization, and to the society at large. Now think about this. If you enter a society, right, that has pristine or an impeccable ways of accountability, you are most likely to find that in their organizations and the businesses, they are also adopting the same kind of culture. In the teams as well, you will see that. In the individual's life as well, you will see that as well. So to me, one of the greatest gift that we can do for our clients is to teach them the process of accountability. So let's take a look at some of this. I'm going to share with you my model of accountability, and this is going to be really, really powerful, right? And this is what I teach at our Master Certified Coach level, or sometimes we call it Coaching Intelligence program, where we really go deep dive into the accountability process, because it has so much amazing truth. Now, if you're just wondering where can you read up more about this, well, stay tuned, because at the end of this year, and 2020, end of this year, I'm going to launch my ultimate book on coaching, right? It's called the OMG of coaching. Now, many people, I've read so many different books on coaching, and every one of them is sporadic. They tend to repeat each other. But what I want to do in this book is to lay down the foundation for you, and lay down the advanced applications and also advanced techniques that you can use as a master coach, in a coach in practice towards mastery. Because I always believe in this, that we begin in mastery, we stay in mastery, and we pursue onwards in mastery. Mastery is not the destination, mastery is the journey. Okay, so let's take a look at this one special tool that I'm going to share with you about how you can help your clients to experience greater accountability and growth. Well, this tool is this. It's the three-circle approach, the three-circle approach. Now, in this tool, you begin to see there's three circles that overlap each other. The first circle, it's the client. The second circle, it's the team. And the third circle, it's the coach. So the client circle, or the team circle, or the coach circle, they all represent the process of accountability. Really, really important. And the intersections, you have four intersections. A, which is intersection between the client and the team. B, which is the intersection between the coach and the team. C, which is the client and the coach. And I, it's in the middle. Now, all these intersections are going to be key, because we want to hear this in the coaching process. So when I say the client, this is how the client can be creating the accountability for themselves, or how they can actually manage by themselves. The team or others represents other people that's in their lives, or the teams that's immediately in front of them, how they can set accountability. Or it can be peers as well, so things that are others outside of self. The coach is the person involved, for example, myself as the professional, who's the third party that comes into play, that will also act as a really, really powerful anchor for the person to create accountability. Now, why are there intersections? And what is the purpose of the key intersection in the middle? Well, what we really want is an accountability process that really integrates and binds all of them together. Because that is one way for us, that if the person is not able to account to themselves, at least there is the team, at least there's the coach that is still accounting too. Because guess what? The client is going to meet the coach quite frequently on the next session and the following sessions. So that is going to be very key for them to explore as well. So think about this, right? This whole component of the client, the team, the coach. Okay, so let's look deeper into each one of them. I'm going to break down each one of them closely for you. So let's explore first the client and the team, or others, the client and others. So let's take a look at this. Now, I call this A, which is account and attribute. Account and attribute. And this is the process where we design a process with the client of how they can account each step to the team, and to set the attributional bias. So what do we mean by this? Well, in the first process, when we account to ourselves, we know what are parameters, we know our our pitfalls, we know our downfalls, and we also know how to actually prepare for ourselves for that. Now, the one of the key components to account. What do we mean by account? Account means make a measure. Make a measure. So we're checking every step of the way. Have we fulfilled this? Have we accomplished that? Have we accomplished that with all the timelines, with ourselves and with the team? So we can tell the team, hey team, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to account to all of you that this is my progress. This is a timeline. I do this for my team as well, right? The team here at Coaching Changes Lives, we have timelines, we have deadlines, right? But we don't call them deadlines because deadline sounds like it's the end of the world. We call them lifelines, well, and we call them enjoyable lines or happy lines because guess what? When we reach a happy line and if we fulfill it earlier, we celebrate. We call them the celebration moment, right? And if we need to extend a little bit more, it's okay. The reason many people are so afraid of these timelines and stuff or deadlines because when they think about deadlines, they think, oh no, what happens if I'm on the last day, last hour? No wonder we get so stressed out because we think it's only 1 hour. So what I'd like to do is to create buffers, right? If I know myself as someone who might miss out dates or overcompensate or overestimate in the short term, what I want to do is to create buffers. So for example, if this project requires me to take me about 10 days, right? And so what I do is that, okay, let me go for 8 days. Okay, and even if I miss out in the 8th day, I still have the 9th day, I still have the 10th day. So that gives me the buffer zone. Now, suppose I really need to stretch to the 11th day. So even though, I gain a bonus 3 days instead of giving it to 10 days, right? So there's every step accountability process with the coach and with the team, or with the client with the team. The next one is to think about the attributional bias. Now, think about this in the languaging of the client, in many of our language as well. Do we attribute our success to someone else? Or do we attribute our failures to someone else? So most of the time, when we are successful, we attribute it to ourselves. I am the one who caused all these things to happen. I am great, I am this, I'm that. But when things don't go the way it should, guess what? We see this person, that teammate, the organization, this situation, every single thing around us we blame except for one thing, which is us, right? So attributional biases helps us to listen carefully for what the client is saying that is causing them to feel that way. What is causing you to be successful? What is causing you to experience the failure? Is it you? Is it others? How do we do that? And we set a accountability process to help them to realize that, hey, it doesn't matter what others is, right? It doesn't matter your team. Maybe you have a problematic team member that's actually affecting you. Okay, how can you navigate that? How can you set some process and parameters that really help you progress, regardless of how people respond? Okay, so this is going to be important. The A component of the client and the team. Next, we're going to look at B, which is be relevant. The accountability should be relevant to the context of the outcome and not something that has always been done. So one of the truth is this: many people think that accountability is all about just doing, but we want to create one that's relevant to the context of the coach, relevant to the context of the client, relevant in the space where we are discussing and we are experiencing as well. Because many people create accountability. They will say this: oh well, you know what? If I'm able to achieve this, I'm going to reward myself for that. Okay, but how? Why? Okay, because each context, each situation requires a different form of accountability. Why? Because the nature of the context, the nature of the situation, it differs. So meaning to say that we need to design one that will really help us to effectuate, to actualize the things that we have discussed. So that's going to be a very important component as well. Next is to think about the C, which is the coach and the client, which is where we look at coherence. Coherence, listening to the coherence of accountability to and for in the words of the client's plan. So when we think about coherence, this is what I truly believe in. The coherence will begin with the coach and the client, where the coach will challenge the client and to really do a reflective inquiry in the client of what is really happening in their world. Is this coherent to what they want to achieve? Is that congruent to their own beliefs? Is that aligned to where they want to be? Because many times, when people say, okay, accountability, it's almost as if it's just a by the way thing. It's almost as if it's a passing remark. But no, accountability, it's a very essential tool, a very essential skill that we need to go deeper with the client, right? So we want to make sure that it is coherent with what we hear, the process, the outcome, the measures, every single thing must cohere to each other. So that's ABC of the accountability process of designing. What about I? Let's take a look at this. I, it's internalize and integrate. Internalize and integrate, giving time for the client to internalize what they have spoken by reflective inquiry to the learnings and integrate them. So After we design the whole process of different components of teams, of self, or with the coach, we want the client to take some time to internalize what's really has happened. So this is what we can do. We can ask the client, hey, Mr. Client, so having gone through the accountability process, what has become clearer for you? What are you learning? What is becoming clearer to you, or what are you discovering in this process? And how has that helped you so far? Okay, so we want them to help them internalize, and the summary of it all, we can get the client to summarize it. Mr. Client, what would you say? We've designed quite a lot of the action steps, and we also designed the accountability process. What would you say? How would you sum up all this? How would you put all this in a few sentences? How would you craft all this to help yourself remind yourself on the progress you're moving forward? So this internalization, right? And integration is going to be very important as well. Integrating to themselves and taking the first step forward. So, Mr. Client, how would you know that you're on track towards this accountability? Okay, how would you know? So recently, I had a client who we were having a session together, and he said he had the trouble to actually put into action the first thing to do. For example, he was using his phone all the way to late at night, and he's not able to have enough rest, and that affected him in the morning for him to do the morning exercise. So I said, hey, why don't we try something different? Why don't we try what can you do before you sleep? Well, I can turn off my phone, and who can you account to? Well, you said my team. So great. Every single morning since then, he texts the team just before he sleeps and say, hey, guys, I've done it this week. I've done it that week. Now the team's influence on him is really, really strong, because guess what? He's able to sustain that for every single day. When he was trying to account to himself, it was not as powerful. But when he's accounting to the team, there's added power, because there's added barrier. There's safety in numbers, right? There's safety in the counsel of many. So that's why it's so important for us to create a accountability process that's relevant, that is also that's also where we address the attributional bias. We also look at the coherence of things, and we look at how we can integrate everything together. Okay. Now, why is this so important? Because at the mastery level of coaching, it's when we begin to unravel how all this binds together. So let me read to you something from the ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, at the MCC level, which is the Master Certified Coach level. Now, some of you who are watching this also wondering about the Master Certified Coach level. I'll talk about it just a while. So this is what it says. Accountability is the client's, where the client helps determines totally who should be on the accountability team, and how to use each person, including the coach, in the process. How to use each person in the including the coach in the process. So this is going to be very, very important. Now, when we think about mastery or as a master coach, what is the difference between a master coach and a coach who just begins his journey? Well, from the client's perspective, both people will still do the job, right? Doesn't matter whether it's a master coach is coaching you or a junior coach coaching you. Guess what? Coaching is independent of the coach. I bring no attention to me. But what's the key difference? The key difference is precision. The precision of questioning, the precision of awareness building, the precision of the way the coaching is conducted in the process. Think about this, right? When I go to a restaurant, a fine dining restaurant, and I have a sushi chef there, I can go to the neighborhood sushi chef, right? And his skill, this still produces the sushi that I want, but at a 3-star Michelin restaurant, or at an exquisite, or at the hands of a refined craftsman of a sushi chef, man, the same cut, the same salmon that's cut, or the same tuna that's cut, it's different. Why? The precision is different. The finesse is different. So to me, I ask coaches, don't stay as a junior coach. Continue to grow, continue to develop, all the way to mastery level. And many coaches say, well, mastery level is for those people who have a lot of years experience, they should go for it. No, I said, do this for yourself. Not do this for your clients. Do it for yourself to become a better conversationalist for yourself. So one of the things that we do here at Coaching Changes Life is to help coaches to bring them through an ACC, PCC, MCC journey in the ICF process. And we have something even beyond MCC. Because many people say, hey, what happens if I achieve my MCC? Where do I go next? That's when we bring them to the next level, where we explore a whole new dimensionality of coaching, where it's going to be so exciting, so fun, right? Apart from this, we also teach coaches about the state. How do you get into the coach's state? Because sometimes your clients can give you lots of excuses, and how do you get them back into the moment? How do you center them back in the moment? Well, we have classes to teach you just that, how to manage your state. How do you manage your business as well? So when we look at the 3 components of a coach, it's so key. The skill of the coach, the way the coach manages his state, and the way the coaches are able to scale up the practice. So if you like what you hear today about accountability and how you're going to account, write down in the comment section below, who are you going to account to for your coaching practice? Who are you accounting to for your coaching skills and skilling up? Who are you going to account to, for your progress? Now, if you're not a coach, if you're a speaker, an influencer, a conversationalist, or maybe you're a parent or youth watching this video as well, what has become clearer for you? How can you account yourself towards your progress in life, in business, in health, in finances, in your careers? How are you going to do that? Put them in the comment section below, and I look forward to engaging with you. Now, so this is Jedi here at Coaching Changes Lives. Here at Coaching Changes Lives, we really truly believe that coaching can truly change and transform lives, one conversation at a time. We're not out there to blast like crazy on funnels and everything to sell people a dream that doesn't exist. But what we want to do is to make that dream a reality, taking measured steps, taking rational steps, taking steps that we have thought through, and we reflect and we hold accountable over the process to really actualize. It's not just good to have a visualization, but we want to actualize the things that we have visualized. Right? So if you like what you will see, give a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our workshops and one of our trainings really soon.